Hiring is one of the most challenging yet significant leadership responsibilities. And in spite of its importance, even the most conservative estimates reveal a 50% error rate in hiring salespeople. As alarming as the poor amount of sales hires are, there is something even worse: what they cost. Although the estimates vary on the exact financial burden hiring mistakes inflict on companies, all of the indicators reveal that it's steep. Selling Power magazine reports that hiring the wrong salesperson costs companies $616,000. The Wall Street Journal affirmed that the cost of turnover can easily be several times the annual compensation of a salesperson. Moreover, once you do replace the underperformer, there are still additional costs associated with bringing up a new salesperson to full productivity. For instance, when the Harvard Business Review published an in-depth study that surveyed the sales efforts of 1,275 different organizations, it found that the ramp-up time for a new salesperson was 7 months. So why do regretful hiring decisions occur? Because of research in behavioral science, we now know that often these choices are the result of the interviewer's cognitive biases. And these biases mislead and often prompt them to choose a candidate who is not right for the position. Let's take a look at 3 of these biases, and then I'll show you how to make sure they don't cloud your judgment when you make hiring decisions. Bias number 1, the best promoter. Research suggests that often the best candidate for an open position is not the one who's hired. Instead, the job goes to the best self-promoter. Now, why is this a problem? There's a wealth of data that shows that as a general rule, people vastly overestimate their abilities. And this overconfidence is even more pronounced if the person has weak skills and a limited knowledge base. For example, in one experiment led by psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger, participants were asked to rate their abilities and were even given a monetary reward if they were able to assess themselves accurately. In spite of this economic motivator, people still overestimated their skill levels. It's as if because they are unaware of what they don't know, they assume they are far more competent than they actually are. As a result, if you hire the best promoter, you'll often be hiring someone who may talk about what they can do for you and your company, but will fall short of their promises. Bias number 2, appearance. There's a large and growing amount of research that has shown that interviewers are highly persuaded by the appearance of a candidate. I can recall how many years ago, when I was a VP of sales for a company and was hiring for an open sales position, one of the candidates arrived at the interview in a very nice suit. Later, the CEO of the company told me he thought that individual would be a good addition to our team, in spite of the fact that he never spoke with him. Why? He liked the suit. Now, though I concede the ridiculousness of making a hiring decision based solely on appearance, the reality is this is a common practice. Research shows that job applicants who are more attractive are more likely to be hired. Additionally, good-looking candidates are offered a higher starting salary than those who are considered less attractive. Bias number 3, context. Human decisions are made contextually. However, we vastly underestimate how influenced we all are by the context we are in when making a decision. Even factors such as eating, the room you're in, or the weather can affect your emotions and the decision-making process. For example, would the clipboard a job applicant's resume is on impact how you perceive that candidate? Now, most of us would balk at the idea that we can be so easily swayed, but that is exactly what one study found. When people viewed resumes that were attached to thick, heavy clipboards, they perceived the applicants to be more serious and better overall than those applicants whose resumes were on thin, flimsy clipboards. So with all these biases that could cloud your judgments, how can you make wise hiring decisions? The first step is to realize that these biases exist. It's hard to fight against the unknown. And now that you know what to avoid, you'll be much less likely to be misled when making hiring decisions. Second, decide what you're looking for in a candidate before the interview. Develop a criteria list and then craft some questions to flesh out if the candidate you're talking to meets that criteria. Following these two strategies can help you ward off those biases that may cloud your judgment. Thanks for watching. I'm David Hoffeld, the CEO and Chief Sales Trainer here at the Hoffeld Group, reminding you, selling is just too important to be based on anything other than proven science.